Welcome to our Symphonic Forays for our opening concert 2020. I'm Anna James Miller, your Slow Symphony Executive Director, and I'm here with Music Director Andrew Sewell. Welcome. What would you like to share about our process to put the concert together so far?
Well, this has been a different year altogether. We've tried 3 times to put this concert together. First of all, by introducing an all Beethoven program back in August, and then also putting something online just to kind of tease everyone about tonight's program. Ultimately, we've gone to an online version with some iterations of our soloist, Dmitri Rachmaninoff, being able to perform the complete Piano Concerto No. 5 of Beethoven, along with one of his good colleagues who's playing the orchestral part on the piano, since we're not able to meet and rehearse together. So it's still all Beethoven, and this is a very important year for Beethoven, his 250th anniversary, and everyone on all continents are playing music by Beethoven. So we were going to begin with his 7th Symphony and his Piano Concerto No. 5. But instead, we've got a majority of the concert featuring our soloist, Dmitri Rachmaninoff, as well as a string quartet of Beethoven, a violin sonata with Emily Lanzone and Susan Davies, and some other offerings that will pique your interest and introduce Beethoven, the incredible master that he was.
Great. Well, that's a lot of Beethoven.
Sure is.
So what's so great about Beethoven?
Well, you know, he was a revolutionary. Obviously 1770 and now 2020, it's 250 years since his birth. And he really straddled the end of what was called the early classical period and led us transitioned into what was soon to be the Romantic period. But he basically took the music community by storm. And his very forceful personality, the way he developed the concerto, he stretched the piano repertoire with his sonatas and piano concertos. He built on the tradition that was established by Haydn and Mozart, and many, many other composers. We say those names as if they're rattled off, but those were 2 other giants that went before him. But so there were so many leading exponents of classical music that Beethoven kind of just took that and added on to it. So he developed the symphony to a much grander scale than anyone else before him. So we have the Symphony No. 3, for example, and then the Symphony No. 5, and we would have performed the Symphony No. 7. And the Piano Concerto No. 5 of 5 that he wrote was clearly, you know, it's called the Emperor, but it's the crown and glory of his achievements. All 5 piano concertos are often played. So in many different genres of classical music, he was a star.
So we started off that we were going to play the No. 7. So tell us why you picked that one, and then tell us a little bit about the one we'll be hearing, the No. 5, and how are those different?
Originally, we were going to have Symphony No. 1 and Symphony No. 7 sandwiched with the Piano Concerto No. 5. And the reason for that was to show our audience that the very beginning of Beethoven's artistic development from the very first symphony and then all the way through to No. 7. And what made No. 7 so impressive is the second movement, which was built upon an Adonis rhythm, and he builds it. It shows supremely how Beethoven builds things block by block. The last movement is an incredibly dramatic piece, and it would have been a great ender for our concert. But we will bring it back in the future when we're all playing together again.
Good. Can't wait to hear it. So now a question that we've been asking each other pretty much constantly since April, May. What exactly are we going to be hearing on this concert?
Well, as I mentioned, we will be hearing some string quartet, Opus 18 No. 4, with some musicians from the Slow Symphony. We'll also hear a violin sonata with our associate concertmaster, Emily Lanzone and Susan Davies. We'll be hearing the Piano Concerto No. 5 with a piano accompaniment with our soloist Dmitri Rachmaninoff, and hopefully some other offerings which we will be putting together in the coming week. I'm trying to keep it all Beethoven.
Great. Well, let's talk about Dmitri a little bit. We'd hoped to bring him up here to the Cass Winery and have him play the piano here to the Vines, which would have been beautiful. But he's going to be instead recording in Los Angeles, where he lives. So can you tell us a little bit about him as an artist and about what he'll be recording and what's that going to look like in the concert?
Well, Dimitri actually is well known to a good friend of ours, Mark Sherman and Denise. And in fact, they went to school together, music school together, and that's where the connection is. And it was Mark's suggestion that we work with Dimitri. I've since met with him, and he's a wonderful musician, originally from Russia, and has been in this country for many years and is now professor of piano at Northridge in the California University system. He tours frequently around the States and the world and performs regularly. So like any concert pianist, he has a combination of recitals, performances, teaching duties, and recordings. So we're very fortunate to have him in such close proximity. And being just in LA, it's a hop, skip, and a jump all the way up to San Luis Obispo.
So how will that be different? So our original plan was to have him play together with the whole orchestra. How will that be different, hearing him play a solo piece?
Well, as many viewers will know, Beethoven himself was the performer on this occasion of his concertos. So what he put in those concertos often were a number of cadenzas and pieces that would feature the solo piano. And the concerto is actually formulaic in the way it's written. And this is what Beethoven was known for. He had developed the first movement. It's kind of like a novel. You have an exposition, a development, and a recapitulation. Towards the end of the development to the recapitulation, they put in a cadenza. And that's the moment where the pianist shows off, does an improvisation, and in Beethoven's time he often improvised, and then he also actually wrote out a cadenza. So you will see Dimitri and his colleague playing the opening tutti, what they call a tutti. That's when the orchestra part plays. Then you'll hear the piano lead off with the first subject and things like that. And I don't want to get too technical, but many of us know the Beethoven Piano Concerto No. 5 and the themes that go in. The beautiful slow movement is lush and tuneful and romantic, and then the final movement is of course very grand, and I think this was the way that he just expanded this form to its pinnacle. Everyone after Beethoven followed him and was directed by what he wrote. So that's what we'll be hearing. We'll hear two pianos and the full concerto itself, which is not bad considering we couldn't hear the whole orchestra. So it'll be a new experience.
So let's talk a little bit about the changes that the symphony's been through in the last few months and kind of all that we're doing. So can you share from your perspective, how has it been for you as a conductor with all the changes of COVID and all the challenges? What's that experience been like for you?
Well, we were very fortunate in San Luis Obispo. We just completed our fourth classics concert on March the 7th. So we were very fortunate. The only concert that we had to postpone was the May 2nd. In my other orchestra in Madison, we were only 2 concerts in out of 5. So to answer your question, I had a unique perspective on both sides. We had to cancel and postpone and second guess one another. But in fact, it has been difficult from a perspective of making sure the musicians have something to do or keep them employed, or perhaps pay for concerts that were lost. Every organization is different. Around the country, we've seen what other orchestras are doing. We have in St. Louis Obispo, we postponed the concert to May. We also had a concert at Avila Pops that we had to postpone. And I say postpone because no one wants to cancel anything. But as we've all found, as this has dragged on and developed across the country and across the world, we've all had to take a deep breath and adjust to what we can and can't do and what is safe. So we came up with a plan to actually socially distance, and we've still got that plan. And when the time is right, we'll go back to that plan. And I've successfully been able to do that in Madison, Wisconsin. We did 2 outdoor concerts on a soccer field, socially distanced, amplified, and we will hopefully be able to do that here soon, even here at the Cass Winery when we have a chance. They've got a beautiful facility which the doors roll up so it gets plenty of airflow. We're always thinking about safety, the aerosols, and when our friends in the health department and in the state allow us to proceed, we will do so safely.
Great. anything else you want to share with our supporters and our audience? And
Well, I will certainly want to thank Steve Cass and his company and his lovely wife as well for having us here, for jumping in, with just hands-on approach. We couldn't have done it without them. They're so generous and they're great supporters of the arts. I also want to thank our musicians who have stepped up to do these chamber music concerts. We've also not only done that, but we broadcast earlier last year's concert of the Beethoven 8 and Strauss Ein Heldenleben. That was on May the 2nd. I want to thank our staff. They've done a terrific job. Everyone's done heavy lifting. Even our youth orchestra program is going gangbusters because we've had to acquiesce and go online. And most of all, I just want to thank our supporters who have not blinked an eyelid. They've supported us. They've continued to enjoy concerts when we've been able to offer them online and navigate the thrills and spills of technology. That's caught us all by surprise. Yes. I didn't know what a Zoom call was until March, more or less.
Now you see it when you close your eyes.
I see it day in, day out. I've got Zoomitis. But of course, just to be in a serious note, I want to just sort of turn the conversation to you. Sure. Because Anna, you've joined us most recently just in May. You haven't even been to a live symphony concert with the Slow Symphony. As the new executive director coming in, beginning your duties in June and July, how has it been for you moving down here from the Seattle area, Bremerton, and to have to adjust hook, line and sinker to a new reality?
It's been very challenging, and I was so fortunate to be there at the March 7th concert after I'd accepted the role and before I started the work of it. So it was lovely to see that concert, even though it was this kind of early COVID days, not a full audience, but it was wonderful. And it was such a great sense to see the orchestra together. And especially now knowing that we can't come together, it's really tough. But for us as a family, it's been exciting. We were ready for this adventure. It's a lifelong dream to move here to the California coast, and it's lovely. We can't wait till we can go out and make friends and do things again. But yeah, it's been wonderful for us and for me, and you've been so great to work with.
Likewise.
I wish our work wasn't quite the way it is in terms of the challenges that we're facing, but I just think us as an organization, we're really modeling and transforming what could be possible for our art form, and that gives me so much hope and so much inspiration. And the days that I'm just ready to say, oh, forget it, it's too hard, we can't do it, I just remember that we're doing things that we've never done before, and I feel that we all do a great job of supporting each other and driving the work forward. So I'm really encouraged and sometimes also very tired.
Well, I don't doubt, and especially with your young daughter Cassidy at home, even having an uninterrupted Zoom meeting has its challenges.
She's hanging off me like a monkey most of the time.
That's true, but you've done it with such aplomb, with such grace and style. I also want to just have a shout out to the work that we've been doing with our musicians and the players representatives that keep the wheels turning. And I know that many of them are doing things outside of their normal workday, just to keep the arts alive. And while we all can't wait to get back together, music is a communal thing. Nothing is in place of a live performance, but we do have the ability to play recordings, to be able to record ourselves. We even did what I call a flash mob version of Beethoven Symphony No. 2, which has its challenges again. But most of all, I think what's important is that our supporters and you listening to this broadcast know that we're thinking of you, and we're thinking of how we can provide music that will enhance the community, enhance our lives, give us emotional strength, and remind us that music is an intangible thing that touches our soul. And sometimes you can't put it into words. It's a feeling. And we will continue to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.